Welcome back. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and we are going to be recapping the Green Bay Packers 2023 season. And in the second half of the video, previewing the 2024 offseason for the Packers here. They had an amazing season, so it's going to be a lot of fun I'll say they had an amazing second half of the season. It's going to be a lot of fun to kind of break down and talk through this with you, Ryan, and also preview what we think the Packers can do in the 2024 offseason. But before we do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new videos. We have 3-round mock drafts for the Packers coming out here soon and 7-round mock drafts leading up to the 2024 NFL draft. So you're not going to miss those. So be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Ryan, let's pull up the slide here. They ended up going 9-8, but very similar to the Eagles. I feel like that does not really represent how the team was playing in the second half of the year. Packers came on super strong. I mean, they went, ended super strong. Sorry. Tough loss to the Buccaneers, actually, who is one pick after them. But, I mean, when a QB throws a perfect game, it's kind of tough to stop against. But in general, though, good win against the Panthers, dominated win against Minnesota, great win against Chicago to end out the season. Chicago was coming on strong. Then just an absolute masterclass game against the Dallas Cowboys, one of the better defenses I would say in the league, especially the two on the road. That they
hadn't lost it at home all year, the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So,
and what I was thinking about too when watching this game, and no matter what happened to them in the playoffs, and also too, I feel that they should have beat the 49ers. They should have put up 48 points again, like how they did on the Cowboys against the Niners. If I'm being completely honest, they blew some opportunities. But I was thinking like this team with how young they are and how young this offense, this is a Super Bowl caliber offense, potentially even next year. Like if I'm being completely honest, and so having Aaron Jones, he missed the first half of the season, so I think there's that talk of potentially moving on from him. I'm not gonna lie, dude was phenomenal. Like all the talk about David Bakhtiari not playing, offensive line looked great. Only gave up 30 sacks on the season so far. Matt LaFleur was on the hot seat through 8 games. He is not right now. I honestly think, I mean, he to me is, I know we've gone back and forth about Kevin Stefanski. I think he's the coach of the year. I mean, if you go look at what this team was 8 games through the season, 9 games through the season, like to then now, like totally transformed. And the defensive numbers also too. I feel like the running defense, the running numbers, they definitely improved. They improved overall, I would just say, throughout the entire season. So I've been talking a lot here. I want to throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on the Packers season?
I was going to say, I definitely think that Aaron Jones coming back and especially how they ended the season. I mean, they ran for 134 yards in the number 1 rushing defense in the 49ers in the divisional round of the playoffs. Yeah. So, that was a really impressive performance. They ran all over the Cowboys, who were
143 yards. By the way.
143 against the 49ers.
They went in their last 5 games going up against the Panthers. 162 rushing yards, 177 to the Vikings, 124 against the Bears, who had the best run defense in the league. And then 143 against the Cowboys, 136 against the Niners. Like that to me is a testament of how much improved this offensive line was compared to earlier in the year, and then also having Aaron Jones back.
Yeah,
but then like those to me, those are the 2 first things I think about. Then also too, the offensive game plan that has been implemented by Matt LaFleur. And we saw it now, like some days it was Jaden Reed that would explode. Some days it was Romeo Doubs in the Cowboys game. Some days it was Bo Melton. Some days it was Dontavian Wicks, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave. All those guys were freaking rookies, except for Romeo Doubs, who's a second-year guy. And we didn't even talk about
Christian Watson, who struggled the whole year with hamstring injuries. When he's in, was really good. And so it's just really impressive to me what they were able to do. And then also, I think you look on the defensive side of the ball, they were the 9th ranked passing defense. They were the league average in sacks with 45. And then this running defense does need to get better. However, I will say they didn't really let the 49ers or the Cowboys or anybody really run on them. I will say they put the Cowboys in such a big hole so early that they weren't really running a lot. But and then they had 18 turnovers on the year, which was below average, but sometimes that's just the opportunities you're given throughout a year. So no, I mean this season was definitely a success, especially when you look at where they were. I think they were 5-2 in their last 7 games to get to this point. And they did a really good job in the second half of the year, really turning it around and getting the boat right. So let's move on to 2024 for the Green Bay Packers. So they do have looks like 2 second-round picks. They're picking at 25, 41, and 58. And then also so a few free agents. So Keyshawn Nixon, their all-pro returner. Darnell Savage, their free safety. Jonathan Owens, their strong safety. A.J. Dillon, Yosh Nijman, and John Runyon, both offensive linemen, are also free agents. They do have $10.7 million in cap space. So, again, they'll be able to clear some up there, probably add another 10 or 15 maybe in just restructuring alone. And they also could have some cap casualty guys that get cut before the end of the season to save on some money. So definitely a good outlook. I think I would say 10.7 is probably a little like maybe slightly below average, but definitely not being in the negatives is a big deal, especially in that division where all those teams are going to be adding a lot of pieces.
Yeah. So that what cap space was as of January 11th or 13th or something like that when I made the canvas. I will say as of right now, of the recording on January 22nd, it is at 8.4. So it's gone down a little bit. But also, too, I think it's just going to depend on whatever the final estimated cap number is. So that's going to fluctuate. So, but there's still some flexibility. They'll be able to extend guys. They'll be able to create a little bit more space, potentially even cut some people. But to me, when I look at this, and if there was a weakness overall in this, I would say that it probably was the secondary, in my opinion. And then you look and see there are some key guys. Jonathan Owens is going to be free agent. Darnell Savage as well. They really only had like Jair Alexander was the only guy I truly trusted, I would say. But at the same time, though, too, I think that this could be a good class. I think if they wanted to add some secondary, but also take some other best player available type guys, especially if we're looking at that 25th pick overall. Have to see how corners do, but also they have a lot of flexibility. The ... right there in our draft picks is they actually have several other 7th rounders as well. So they have a lot of draft capital and some flexibility. They could potentially move up some if they really wanted to go get a guy or if they really liked a guy. If they want to go get the number 1 corner and have him pair up with Jair Alexander, I think that could be an interesting route because with the 5 picks in the top 100, as you've mentioned, I think it allows for a lot of flexibility to go get a guy. So that to me is honestly their biggest team need. I would say I put left tackle, but I think this could just be rounding out the offensive line as a whole. It's also with a 25th pick, I think could potentially be interesting. But like this team, the way the season ended out, not too many holes. I'd just say experience. I just want to go back to the age thing. If you go look at the offensive players of everybody that had over 100 receiving yards, which looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 or 11 guys. Only one of them is over 25, and that's Aaron Jones. And A.J. Dillon is the only 25-year-old. Everybody else is 24 to 23, which is just absurd.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so they're set in the skill position player department and how Matt LaFleur has utilized them and the overall buy-in. I think even if you go look at the defensive side of the ball, there are definitely some key young players that are there. TJ Sultan, their nose tackle, Devontae Wyatt, both those guys were taken over the past couple of years. Rashawn Gary, Quay Walker,
Lucas Van Ness, this last class.
Yeah. Sorry. That was another guy as well who had a lot of big moments. So personally, I would think then too, if they want to go get a guy, speaking of Lucas Van Ness, I think imagine like if you get Cooper DeJean in this defense here, he's that Swiss Army knife that you can kind of utilize him, move him around in any in any situation. And as much as that defense improved, if they were wanting to address the secondary just a little bit more, I think that's the guy because I think he's just a great athlete. So you can go put him on anywhere. I say that though. I really like Nate Wiggins. I like Kool-Aid McKinstry. Terrion Arnold is super young, but has potentially the highest ceiling of everybody. And so I think there's a lot of great options for these for the Packers in the first round to go get some secondary help.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think getting a versatile corner like Cooper DeJean would be fantastic. I do like that fit. So It's going to be a really interesting offseason. I think there's some free agent targets that they could go after as well to really bolster up this defense, but we'll just kind of have to see. Let's go ahead and wrap up this season recap for the Green Bay Packers. Here, if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of the Packers 2023 season, and let us know what you think, what you want them to see going forward into 2024. And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.